I think discipline is a way of life when you're growing up in an army family. There was a film in Telugu that I shot 4 days and I was replaced, which was with Prabhas. In the world that we live in, you can't treat women like that. You can't rape, you cannot cross your boundary, you cannot talk a certain way, and that comes with the right upbringing of the men. Because if those men are brought up right, they will not do that. It would have been some other film and not De De Pyar De, which gave me that platform of Ajay sir and Tabu ma'am and a bigger film which continued my journey here. Where I feel there are always two ways. Either you sit back and crib, or you just say, okay, great, this has not happened, what next? Everyone, whether it's Allu Arjun or Charan or Mahesh Babu, no matter how big stars they are, everyone's punctual, there is mutual respect, it's one industry, there's a lot of dependability on one another in terms of, okay, you need my help, I'll be there. Tabu ma'am, the kind of work that she's doing. So there is Kareena ma'am, just so amazing with the kind of script. There's no point of keeping your houses clean if you can't keep your mind and your body clean.
Co-star or director that you realized was overrated after working with them?
मरवाओगे क्या? अभी करियर बाकी है मेरा. I'm dunking this.
Hi, welcome to In the Ring with Filmfare. I am in conversation with Rakul Preet Singh. Rakul has straddled Kannada, Tamil, Telugu cinema, and as well as doing a lot of Hindi films. She has acquitted herself right from the Miss India contest very well, and now she's starred with almost all the major heroes in filmdom. So I'm here for a conversation with Rakul. Thank you, Rakul, for being part of this.
Thank you. My pleasure.
So my first question to you is, you are an army kid,
Yeah.
clearly. What were the upheavals that you feel? You're with a father who was probably been through the Kargil war,
Yeah.
and what were the upheavals as a child that you faced?
As a child, you don't realize the hardships that the family has to go because you're a child. You don't know the nuances of what life is throwing at the parents at that point. But as you grow older, like today, when I look back, I'm like, I don't know how my parents did it. Because you get this one field posting, one peace posting. Field means you're on the border area, and then your other posting would be peace. So peace time, though, we used to all stay together. But field time, which is when my dad was, say, in the northeast, he was posted for 3.5, 4 years in Aizawl and then Jammu. So there were a lot of times that he was on the border areas. We were in the cantonment. And we were not sensitive about Chhatike, dad has to go. It was like normal because everybody's fathers were doing the same because we were in that cantonment with that mindset. But now when I look back, I'm like, there were no phones. There was no certainty of tomorrow. There was so much stress that my mothers lived in. And how did they do it? Like today we as a generation are so dependent on where are you, like the and I when I think about it, when we were kids, when that Aizawl time of his posting, we would get to talk to him once in 4-5 days. There was this one time that his convoy left and it didn't reach, and we just got a call that and there was an ambush just 15 days before of our neighbor who was ambushed, and his son was in my class, and there was news that we can't trace the cars. So I remember I still have that picture where my mom just made both of us sit in front of the Gurdwara and just just pray till about 4-5 hours till we got an update that okay, they're fine. They were hanging from a cliff. The cars were hanging from a cliff. So yeah, a lot of those things. But when you're a kid, it's a normal for you because everyone around you is living that life. And then when you become a civilian, which is what all the army kids say, like when you come into the world outside, then you're like, wow, like, it's not easy. The lives that they live is not easy. The way we've lived is not easy. But I think it really makes you strong.
But what were the lessons that your dad told you being an army man, and what did you imbibe?
I think discipline is a way of life when you're growing up in an army family. I've never seen my dad take anyone's time for a ride, like whatever is said. It's not flaky. It's like if I've said something, I mean it, and that's why it's said. So when I was transitioning to Mumbai, he would tell me all of these things that you guys have really grown up in a very protected environment. You all don't know what the world is like, so be careful. People are not like that. They were scared. They had that fear that you've only grown up in cantonments, gated security, bhaiyas are there to like help you, assist you, an army school, you know what I mean? So yeah, he used to say that the world is going to be very different, and as you start dealing with people, you'll understand that it's not everyone is that transparent. But I feel that your DNA becomes that when you've spent 20 years of your life being that. I think I still carry that DNA. So whether it's being transparent, being honest, or being disciplined, it's a way of life. Like so much so that sometimes people around me they're like, "Yeah, let's meet tomorrow at 7." And I'm like, "Why did you say that? You are not there." It's like, "But kaun milne wala hai?" So I'm like, "You can't do that," you know. So it's that to like at a cellular level, you're very transparent.
And so, how did the movies happen? Like, what made you from Delhi come to Bombay? You obviously came for the Miss India contest.
Yes.
Was that the first major?
No, actually. So I loved films like any other young girl, and I think if you give an opportunity to any young girl, who wouldn't want to be on screen? So my when I was in high school, when I was 10th, 11th, around that time, my mom told me, and I used to follow Miss India like to the T. Like I would know who are the 20 contestants, who like I would know all their names, right? From the time of Aishwarya, Shushmita, from 94 onwards, I used to follow. And so my mom seeded it in my head that if you want to try, you should. And I thought that I was a tomboy. I don't think I can do it. And she said, think about it. You're tall and you're smart. You should give it a try. So in my head, I knew that, okay, so my dad said you can get your pictures clicked and you can start modeling once you're 18. So I finished college, and I finished school, and as soon as I entered college, I turned 18. I got my pictures clicked. Now, very funny, I didn't know that I was going to act in films when, how. My aim was Miss India. And those pictures traveled, and somebody from the Kannada industry called my dad and said that we want to cast her in this Kannada film. So, me being an army, non filmy kid who doesn't know what the South industry is, like I was very ignorant. So, I said, no, I'm not going to work in South. I'm going to do a Hindi film. Like, as if I have people lined up who are going to come in, like, out of being completely naive and ignorant and just sweet. So they said, we've seen your date of birth, and she's going to become a big star one day, and we want to launch her. So it was very freaky. I said, how have you seen my date of birth and what is it? Like, so my birthday is 10th October with Rekha ji. So I was like, wow, aisa lag raha hai in logo ko. So, like all these weird things happened. And finally I said, okay, let me do a film. They're calling. And my reason of doing the film, Jitesh, was that my pocket money was 2,000 rupees a month. And I thought I'm going to make money in lakhs. And I'll be the first one in my friends to buy a car. So great, let's do a film. I was getting some 4-5 lakhs, and I said, let's do a film. So I was studying mathematics. I just went and shot the film, and I came back and started studying again. I was in Delhi University. So when that film released, then I started getting a lot more offers, and I kept saying no because I was like, कुछ 5-6 days का होगा तो बताना. This 60 days and all you're asking, I can't give. I'm studying maths honors. So I was so naive and so buddhu that I was asking them because I was only thinking money. I was thinking 5-6 days, 10 days I can manage with college. 60 days and all you're asking main lead how? So because there was no guidance, right? So I said no to so many people at that point. And I remember Puri Jagannath at that time after Pokhri had called me and my dad for a meeting, and he said, "Degree gale mein tangegi. Like, where is she going to take her degree?" And my dad said, I can't tell her not to study if she wants to study. So yeah, that's how my journey began. It was very like scattered because I didn't know anything, and then I went for Miss India, and then I was like, oh, everyone is so groomed and everyone knows. And that's when I was like, okay, that's how you behave like a girl, that's how you're like all feminine. So my grooming was the pageant largely and the Bombay world. And then I moved to Bombay, and then I started auditioning in that whole Aram Nagar and all of that, and the journey began.
Tell me about your auditions. How was the Bombay coming from Delhi? Like you said, so protected, and suddenly the big bad world.
I'll tell you what, I was so naive, Najite, that sometimes, when you don't know too much, it helps because you don't get corrupt in your head. So my only belief was, if I work hard enough, I'll get it. It was simple. It was like, it's fine, I'm going to get it. I'm going to work hard and I'll get it. It was just like a mathematics, because I'm a maths graduate. It was like, hence proved, you know, hard work equals success. So I used to, I was very naive. So when I came, I remember my dad came and he started seeing places with me. First, it was a shock. I was like, from cantonment, like I couldn't afford Bandra at that time, and I wasn't liking the whole sharing bit in Andheri because it was just not, open enough. So I took up a place in Kandivali. There was Kalpatru Towers there, so it was open, and my house overlooked the Ordnance Cantonment. So I could just see those 3-ton, 2-ton, all the army trucks and feel like a sense of
Back
belonging.
home.
Yeah. So I took that place up and I would drive every day to Bandra Andheri, but I was staying there. And then the journey began of every day. I used to come and train in Bandra, and I used to keep all clothes in the back of my car, your formal, Indian, white shirt, blue jeans, whatever is required, so that whichever audition comes up. And yeah, I would finish training and get ready and just wait at a cafe or there that any meeting would come, and I would do my meetings or auditions and head back by evening. So that was like my routine for a year.
This is after Miss India.
This is after Miss India. And because Miss India happens in April, October I made the move. So for a year, I kept doing that, auditioning, calling people. And initially, people don't know you. So there's so many people who are going to call you, right? And I mean, who call them and they don't answer. So I was so persistent that I would send 50 messages. Hi, this is Raghupreet Singh. I'd love to meet. Like I used to just be very persistent कि ये देख के तो कोई ना कोई बोलेगा हाँ बहन मिलने आ जाते हैं you know. So yeah, it was beautiful. I think.
And how were the audition? Were you shattered that there are so many people also auditioning? Did you have to
I
face any
was-
uncomfortable situations?
No, I'm telling you, I was in a fool's paradise of my own. That, okay, if I don't get it, something better is there for me. I'm telling you, I was not corrupted. And I think what also helped was that I wasn't living in the whole actor area in Mumbai also. I was living in Kandivali where there was one auntie who we knew. So my parents were also like they were not stressed that she's around. So I was completely detached from the whole actor model circuit. I would just diligently go do my work. There were, of course, a lot of rejections. There was a film in Telugu that I shot 4 days and I was replaced, which was with Prabhas.
Why?
I don't know. I mean, I know, and I think it's for the best that that happened. Everybody had the best intentions, but I was new, very new. That time I was still in second year of college. This is pre Miss India. After that first film released.
Yeah.
So I'd signed it up, and then I had my exams. So I was also studying on set and all, and I shot 4 days. And then what happened is that this was Mr. Perfect, his film Mr. Perfect, and then Kajal did it. So what happened is that Kajal and Prabhas's one film released in that week of while we were shooting, which became a blockbuster. So I think the producers thought that let's repeat the same casting, and it was absolutely to give it to them a business call, like a proper sensible call that let's have the same pairing back again rather than going in for a fresh girl, and that happens many a times, right?
Were you heartbroken?
No, no, I didn't know only that aspect, and I'm so grateful I didn't know. So I've gone back to. They told me that go back and the second schedule will let you know, and then I got to know once I'm back in Delhi that I've been replaced. So I literally said, I said, okay, I guess then there's something better for me. That's it.
Wow.
And I don't know where and I'm not, I swear to God, I'm not saying this today that 10 years later I'm sitting here across the table with you. This is exactly what my thought process was. Now, whether it's my parents who gave me that sort of a sensibility or my belief, I always believed that I'm God's child. Like I will get whatever I get will be for me, even if it takes time. And I feel like when you put too many hopes on one thing, that's when you get shattered. You gotta consistently keep trying. If not this, then that. If not that, even today I keep doing that. Like I reach out to people, I show my interest. It's a ongoing journey, and you never stop. And I think I think that's what it was.
Were there other films where you got replaced by because of unfairly, or because I'm leading up to my next question is the Hima Commission report is out. But before I get into that, were there films where you were replaced unfairly, or because of you were not adjusting or accommodating enough?
No,
Was there anything
no,
that kind of?
no, no. Luckily, I don't know. Luckily, touch wood, I've been blessed that I've never come across a person who's tried to act funny with me or tried to take advantage of me being not from the industry or young, or and there are a lot of people, unfortunately, who have to go through that, and it's wrong. But in my journey, I haven't faced anything like
You've
that.
had colleagues telling you about their incidents, about being,
Never, never. I think it's also the vibe that you carry. Like, I have such a like do your work, go back home kind of vibe on set that beyond a certain conversation, uh, I don't think anybody would open up, even if that's the case. But I've not seen it with my own eyes.
I specifically asked this is because right now the Malayalam industry is under the scanner, but we all know it happens in every industry.
Right.
Ultimately, it also depends on how you conduct yourself
Absolutely.
and how much you are willing to compromise. And like you said, it's very clear from your body language if you're interested in this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
What would your viewpoint be on this? Now you have a lot of junior artists coming. Obviously, the leading heroines are not talking
Yeah.
about it. A lot of junior artists have actually come. This happened to me 20 years earlier. This particular episode, and which is created. It is not the point is not naming and shaming people. The point is to create a awareness and also a sense of respect that these are the boundaries. You're not supposed to. You cannot use it as a power trip.
But can I tell you, Jitesh, every man in the world needs to be taught that. It's not a power trip of this industry or another industry, it's a power trip of being a man. Today, if we're in a world where whether it's the corporate industry, it's not under the scanner, so we don't talk about it. Whether it's corporate, whether it's medical, no matter where, forget industry. Today, men want to show power on teenager girls, and there are so many rapes that are happening. So that's coming from a belief that they are more powerful, and there's a heavier equation there, and we can do whatever we want. So let's address the root cause. The root cause is that we need to take that thought away from all the men, that we can do whatever we want and get away with it. So it's not about professional only. It's not about just any industry. It's also in the world that we live in. You can't treat women like that. You can't rape. You cannot cross your boundary. You cannot talk a certain way, and that comes with the right upbringing of the men. Because if those men are brought up right, they will not do that. So it's not about what exists, what doesn't exist. It's about why does it exist. It's because they're taught that you are more powerful. There are still sections of the society where people want boys, you know, and those are the men who think that they rule the world and they can get away with anything. And I think we need to have stricter. We do have the rules, we do have the laws, but we need to have stricter implementation of laws. So once we set that precedence, things will stop happening.
But are you saying that you never faced any sort of? I mean, of course, forget pay parity and all. That is a
That is
different
separate,
discussion.
yeah.
But you've never faced where you've been replaced by another heroine.
I just told you I was replaced by a more accomplished actor because I was
accomplished, yeah. But after that, once you became an established, like you worked in Tamil industry with a lot of heroes, you worked in the Telugu industry. How has the experience been overall?
So see, well, when it comes to replacement, there are a lot of films that you'll be in discussion for, right? Ultimately, some land, some don't land. I've never gotten into why I didn't get that or I got that. There have been cases that you're replaced, but I'm not the kind of person who will, even for a moment, sit back and crib upon what's not happened. There have been times, I'll not name the film, but there was a film that I was supposed to do in Hindi. while I was still working in Telugu, and everything was okay. And then the producer called me and said that, hey, listen, I really want to work with you, but this time we'll have to go in for a bigger name for the, again, like selling the
Selling
film
it.
or whatever, because I was not working in Hindi at that point. So either that day I could have cribbed and been really bitter and said, I had signed this film, what is this? Life is unfair. Or what I did instead is the moment he cut the call, I said, of course, I really appreciate you personally calling me and we'll work in future. And I called everybody else who had met in that round of Bombay that I did from when I came from Hyderabad. That what happened about that meeting, what happened. And I signed De De Pyar De. Okay, so it would have been some other film and not De De Pyar De, which gave me that platform of Ajay sir and Tabu ma'am, and a bigger film which continued my journey here. So what I'm saying is that there always, and I am a little spiritual and philosophical in my head, where I feel there are always two ways. Either you sit back and crib, or you just say, okay, great, this has not happened, what next? And I'm that person. So yes, there have been replacements, but I'm not bitter about it, because I feel every time you have a failure, it makes you only stronger. And especially when you're on your own journey, when you don't have people calling and saying, hey, please cast her, or what do you think about her? I make those calls myself, I do it myself. It just makes you a stronger person. And
Yes.
and then you're just like you're strong, that's it.
Also, there is this new trend. A lot of people are cast on the basis of their Instagram followers, and
I'm hearing this for the first time.
but during for ads and films and all, does this happen?
Not for films, then I should sign a lot more films. I should be packed. No, I don't think any film will ever cast you. See, let's understand the math, right? If if you have, say, I have 24 million people on my Instagram and each one of them goes and watches my film once, then it's a blockbuster. Your Instagram following
Does
is
not.
not converting into footfalls. and
No.
and that's not, and every producer understands that math. So yes, brands, because that's a digital marketing space, and that's on your weekend reach, and it's got a very different algorithm to it. So yes, brands on your popularity on social media, your engagement, that does happen, but not with films. I think films is any creator, any director who's lived with the film, the script, will want to cast you if you're fit for the role, largely.
Tell us about your heroes and the people who have inspired you. Like you mentioned Tabu, you mentioned Ajay Devgan. What are the people who have inspired you while
Oh,
working
wow.
with them? And
Everyone. Of course, everyone somewhere leaves like some sort of a imprint on you, right? But I feel the Telugu industry has been really, really very important part of my life. Like I started my journey there, right? And they've shaped me into who I am. I always say that the first 5, 6 years is your conditioning, right? And that's how you become. And I got conditioned and shaped there. So I was working with the everyone, whether it's Allu Arjun or Charan or Mahesh Babu or all those people, those were my years of like learning and growing. And of course, you continue doing that. But what I'm trying to say is that no matter how big stars they are, or even back then they were, everyone's punctual, there is mutual respect, it's one industry, there's a lot of dependability on one another in terms of, okay, you need my help, I'll be there. No actor's going to ever say that, okay, I'm not going to come in your film for a special appearance if there's a request made. People go for each other's audio launches. You see that even now. There's so much cross, engagement of different actors for their films. And for me, that became a normal. And I really, really appreciate that, which I feel we lack here to some extent. And I really hope that it happens, because united, you're strong. And unfortunately, there's so much insecurity that everyone feels, oh, what's in it for you, or what's in it, that shouldn't be the case. We're one fraternity, one industry. We should
but it
have a
was not
collective.
like this at least 15, 20
It
years.
wasn't.
It was
So
not
when
like
i'm
this.
when I've worked with Ajay sir, or when I've worked with any of the senior actors, like they can still take the call on one another and have a conversation, like during De De Pyar De, Tabu ma'am, Ajay sir, they're from a very different school, like that. And I really hope that the younger generation also does that, because we're one fraternity.
So, like, what are the changes you were talking about? This is, of course, a marked change. But have you seen Bollywood change in this thing? Now there are managers, there are entourages, there are PRs, there's everything seems like a soundbite. Everything seems like a PR manufactured. Even the answers, like I interview so many youngsters, and I know कि it's
ये सिखाया हुआ
brutal. ये
है.
सब सिखाया हुआ है. You for this you have to say this. Whereas there are certain other stars who manage to maintain a certain authenticity when they talk. There is a conversation you can have, but otherwise it's no this that this.
I'll tell you what, it's um so we're surrounded by a lot of people who can,
Noise.
yeah, a lot of people who can give you advice, who can give you, and which was even when I started out, Yariya days and all of that. You have your agency, you have PR, you have everybody tells you what you should wear, what you should, how you should talk, what are the, and I'm like, okay, you should listen to everyone, but then ultimately do your own thing, because it's your life and it's your decision making and you're the one who's out there. And I feel some people do that and some don't, and it's unfortunate if you get influenced by that noise. I'm not saying it's bad noise. Sometimes your managers have the right opinion, like you should listen to everyone, they're also coming from a good place. But I feel ultimately do what's authentic to you. And for everybody that's very different. What is the meaning of authentic? Maybe they feel that is what it is, right? So it's very difficult to define. um, but you have to, at least for me, I feel like you have to, irrespective of your profession, it can't change the person that you are. I could be an actor tomorrow, I could be a businesswoman, I could be anything, but my profession cannot decide the person that I am.
You must have had your share of relationships before you got married. I'll come to the marriage later. But
Mhm.
were there any red flags that these are the things I'm okay about, these are the things I'm not okay about in a relationship? Were there do's and don'ts in a relationship and stuff that you saw that made you run away from a particular man?
Let me just say that life life teaches you, I think, in that journey of when you're figuring yourself out. It's that journey that teaches you what is right for you or what is wrong for you. And for me, the best thing that happened was, like, before I had met Jackie, I was single for God knows how many years. And that period of being with myself uh, taught me a lot about self love, a lot about what is it that you really need in a relationship. No space for toxicity, no space for, and I'll tell you the most beautiful thing. That's the period where I became very spiritual, and you start seeing things with a different lens, that what is it that you really need in a partner. It's not that, oh, please take me out for dinner, oh, you're not doing this for me, you're not answering my calls, all that insecurity, all that nonsensical toxicity. It was just thrown out of the window, like it didn't exist. By the time I came into a headspace that, okay, I'm ready to be with someone, it was literally looking for a companion who, you so when me and Jackie on our first date, we had this beautiful conversation where we said that to one another, that I am happy, you are happy, and together we are happier. I'm not responsible for your happiness, and neither are you for mine, because if I am trying to fill a void in my life with your existence, then it's wrong. So I'm a happy person in my life, you're a happy person in your life, and together we're happier. And that's what we need to aspire. You do you, I do me, and together we're just complementing each other. And I think was um, that was what I was looking for in a relationship, where I just can't stand. अभी ऐसा लगता है कि how were we when we were kids, yeah? Like all those rants. It's just such a waste of time and energy. Yeah.
So, how long did you date before finally getting married?
3 years.
So, what were the ups and downs in the? I mean, like, if there is a foolproof way of navigating a relationship, is there something like that before you finally take the big plunge?
I think initially it's always about sort of seeing how the first 1 year is always honeymoon phase, as they say. So you sort of cross that, and then you see. I think for both of us, we became friends before we started dating. and we became really good friends. That we were eating our meals together with his friends, my friends. We would, every evening after we finished work, we were catching up, spending time. So we became like, I shouldn't say like bros, but like literally like friends, like that. And to a point that it became seamless. Like it became so easy that I don't have to put on an act to be with him, and neither does he. Like, sometimes you're like, oh, I'm going for a date, let me get ready and go. I didn't have to do that. I just had to be myself, and I could be myself. And I think that was the beauty. And to be honest, there's only been, touchwood, great moments. Touchwood, touchwood. There have been no moments where we felt in these 3 years that we dated that, oh, this is not happening, or we had a fight. None of it. It was just very easy. And I think the beauty of finding the right partner is that you sort of just like seamlessly come together. I don't even, when people say, like you said, congratulations, I forget I'm married. Like there has been no change in my life. And that's how I feel it should be, ideally. And I hope Jackie also says the same. Except that he has to follow a timetable sometimes. So
So what are the do's and don'ts in a marriage? How do you navigate that space? Did things change overnight?
nothing. Nothing changed. So I was literally living across the street. Our house was very close. So the only thing that changed was my address. And I feel marriage is a tag, right? Do's or don'ts exist in any relationship. From the moment you say, okay, I'm committed and I'm dating, it's the same. So marriage doesn't change anything. Ki, acha, ab shaadi ho gayi, to now this is not a no go. So I feel for us, we had figured that out, and yeah, nothing different from dating. I think the only no goes for both of us are, of course, infidelity. That's, and I think one rule that we follow is that if you've not liked something, if there could be maybe some action of mine or something I said or something I did that hurt you, please don't sleep with it. So that's a golden rule we follow, that you're not going to sleep with a problem. Let's communicate. So Jackie was a little bad with communication, and me being like, no, no, X is equal to Y is equal to Z. You have to tell me right now what is it that is bothering you. And yeah, so we communicate. I think the strongest point of any relationship is communicate. There's nothing that it cannot solve.
Also,
No.
both of you are also, he's an actor, you're an actor. Does being married to an actor has its own set of baggage?
No, yeah. No, yeah. And the time that I met Jackie, he was in the second phase of his career, which was more production. And uh, I feel it's never about the profession again. It's about being with an obsessed person or not. You could be obsessed even if you're not an actor, and you could be not obsessed if you're an
When
actor.
you say obsessed, meaning?
Like self-obsessed,
Okay.
too much self. Like, that's why people say that, oh, there can't be two self-obsessed people. But it's just about when you leave your profession at the door. Like, you're two human beings, two people who like doing certain things together, who dislike doing certain things, whatever it is, but you are not carrying a baggage of who you are when you're at home. And I think that's a golden rule again. Like, it's even, and forget now, after marriage, I could never carry that back at home also. Like, to my parents, it doesn't matter what you do, who you are. Sometimes, I go out to the market with them and somebody will spot. So my mom will say, "Arey, wo photo ke liye bula rahe the?" She'll drag me back. I'm like, "What are you doing?" It's that. So no matter what you do, who you are, it doesn't matter. You have to be a good person. And I think that's what both of us. And I think for me and Jackie specifically, what connected was that we're two similar people. It's insane and uncanny as to how similar we are. Male and female versions, obsessed with workout, obsessed with eating healthy. We want to both walk 50 kilometers, 50 minutes to a restaurant so we can eat a dessert and walk back 50 minutes. It's insane. I've seen couples having fights on this, that on a holiday, this one wants to just sleep and this one wants to work out, and we are both the same. So it's.
Your marriage also seemed like, I'm guessing, a dream wedding. You all were far from the madding crowd.
Yeah.
So how did you all plan that out?
So we both, of course, had an idea of how we wanted it. We wanted it to be very real, and we wanted to have fun on our wedding. I think the biggest um, memory that we wanted for ourselves was that we enjoyed our wedding, you know, because a lot of times the bride and groom are just God knows where doing what. They don't enjoy the moments. And we wanted to celebrate it with just people who are friends, of course, family, and just very close friends. So there were people from the industry who were also in the friend capacity of being friends, and just keep it intimate, small, fun, where where it was a lot of fun. It was not no sleeping for 3 days. It was a lot of fun.
A lot of alcohol.
I didn't drink. We both don't drink actually. But obviously on wedding it's a different vibe. But I didn't drink because I was like, I have to wake up in the morning and look like a bride, so I'm not drinking. But with Jackie, yeah, he was not allowed to sleep any of the night. None of his friends let him sleep. So he was like on the feras, he was like, okay, ho gaya kya? Are we married?
Do you ever meet your, because all of you all have had same journeys, Tapsi, Kajal, Tamanna, all of you, Telugu, Tamil, you all speak the language
Yeah.
so beautifully. Do you all ever sort of exchange notes and stuff like that?
Yeah, we used to catch up a lot more earlier, and we still do. Like, you bump into each other. That's different. We try to make plans, whether it's Tapsi or Kajal. Yeah, we've done some dinners here and there, or met outside if we're out of the country, traveling in the same area, region. But yeah, there is a lot of comfort of saying that, hey, let's catch up, let's do dinner. So yeah. But Bombay just consumes you. I feel like we could do that a lot more. If you're living in Hyderabad, you can do that a lot more. Bombay is just, I don't know where the day goes. It just flies.
Your films didn't do well for a long time. Big, huge
Yeah,
movies.
Allu Arjun and
Allu
Ram
Arjun,
Charan
and
and
even there was
Mahesh
a
Babu
Tamil film
with
like
Karthi, Surya.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Did that sort of change equations for you? One day, Friday before the release, you're like flying high, and suddenly then the phone call stops. How do you handle the lows and the highs?
Hey, highs and lows are a part of life, yeah. I mean, tell me one career that's always only going up. It doesn't happen. There's always, that's the trajectory of life. And I feel, well, most of my Telugu films did well. And there was just two, I think Spider didn't work. And after Spider didn't work, which was Murugadas Sir and Mahesh
Yes.
Babu. And then after that, there was another film with Surya, which was NGK. These two films didn't work. And then De Pyar, they worked. Like, I don't, I'll tell you something. I celebrate every Friday, irrespective of whether it's a hit or a flop. And why? Because there's this girl who was 18 who dreamt to be on screen, and today I am celebrating the release of a film. There could be lakhs of people prettier than me, more talented than me, trying to make it, and I can't crib if I have a release. I gotta, it's, see, because the release is not in my hand. What's in my hand is giving my best when I'm on set. Between that action and cut, I have to be 100% present. And the release is not in my hand, so I still celebrate a release. And yes, of course, we are box office driven, and the same, you've seen in so many cases, the same actors who've been around for very long, and suddenly a film does 200, 300 crores, and you're like, oh wow, everyone wants to. But we are a herd mentality as a society. It's fine. When the calls stop, you start calling. That's it.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, you can't give it, like, you can't give up. In life, you can't give up. And it's not just this. You think anybody who's made it big, whether you listen to the Steve Jobs story, history, or the Mark Zuckerberg, like, everyone has had has had instances where things have gone bad and then they've come back stronger.
You mentioned spirituality? How did that happen? You said
So I was 23, 24. I was doing these big films in Telugu constant. Like, I was working 350 days on 360 days. I'm not kidding, Jitesh. I was working like 4, 5. I've done 45 films now. And at that time, it was 4 to 5 films at one time. So, you're from the age of 20 till 24, 25, you're just in that everyday, not monotony, roller coaster. And suddenly you realize, like, I realized that, okay, what am I chasing? right? Like there was just this inner voice, and like I need to be calm. I need to work, but I need to calm down because I was just racing against time. And that one day I just picked up a book which was secret. Okay, it was just lying on my shelf, and I picked up and I started reading. And I read it before, but it just made so much more sense because I was ready to receive what it was saying. And then I just read all the 7 volumes, and I started reading like Louis Hay and, Manifestation. And I realized that there's such solid conditioning that we all grew up with, that we're told that you have to take pressure. Like pressure is normalized, but what if I enjoy the pace? What if I enjoy that fast pace? What if I enjoy the adrenaline? It's not necessary for us to always view life from the lens that's been taught to us. And I started like connecting the dots and reading a lot more books, and like Conversations with God is again a very good Power of Now. And I think these books have and that phase has led me to the whole spiritual angle, where when you said that if films are not working, it's fine. It's today, it's not tomorrow, it will. My persistence has to be there. Like I have to keep going, and nothing external should get you demotivated or dejected. And I think it was that phase of when I was 25, 26, I just got into this whole reading, and Power of Now is like a Bible book for me. uh, yeah. And then you become just like, ठीक है, लोग बोल रहे हैं बोलने दो, लोग कर रहे हैं करने दो. I know me, I know my worth, and I know that I will. See, I used to always believe, like I said, there could be people more talented than me, but I know that I will be the most hardworking in the room. That's something I can give, and that will lead me to improve on my skills. So I've always gone with that belief, and yeah.
What's the worst piece of advice someone has given you?
There's so many. So many. Talk to this person, talk to specific people a certain way. Uh, don't be too real. Uh, don't be so honest. So many. I'm like, it's okay. I need to sleep well with myself. I know I can sleep like this in a minute. I want to be able to do that.
Wow. And what's the best piece of advice that you've received?
This, what my dad had told me when I was coming to Bombay. He said that we're supporting you in the dream that you have for yourself, and we are 100% supporting you, but don't ever do anything that um, that disturbs your conscience. Don't ever do that. And I'm so glad that everything that I've done in my journey has been my decision, and I choose to do things. It may take longer, it may take time, there are no shortcuts to success, but it's that, like I said, I sleep with a clear conscience. Yeah, like no backbiting, no like bitching. Time ka hai yaar, go play a sport instead. Like, if you want to do that, like that's the way I lead my life.
So you don't have a gossip girl gang or a WhatsApp group with all you friends. You don't have any.
I
of that?
can't gossip. I can eat. I'd rather eat in that time. Like, I'll plan a cheat meal, and I'll call my friends, and we'll call from like 10 different restaurants and be like, okay, I want to eat a little bit of Chinese, a little bit of Thai, a little bit of this. Like, I'd rather do that than gossip. At least it's beneficial to me, na? I'm eating food. What's that gossip going to do to me?
What further plans do you have? Like, do you plan to be an actress till you're 80? Do you plan to start
See,
a production house? What else do you have planned?
See, of course, I have acting is my first love. I'm working on a couple of films right now. We're shooting as we speak, and that will continue to be for as long as audiences want to see me. Like, I feel like today we're in such a good time where it's not about just dancing around the trees and you have to look 20 till you're 40. Like, there are just redefining roles, there are just amazing scripts. I mean, look at Tabu ma'am, the kind of work that she's doing. So there is Karina ma'am, just so amazing with the kind of script. So there is scope of continuing to be an actor. And on the side, I've never given production a thought, but I know that at some point in my life, I wouldn't mind. Like, I would possibly
So you're
venture
married
into.
to a producer also.
I don't know if I would do with him or not. We've never discussed that because I feel like that's his journey and this is my journey. And if we naturally cross paths while doing something that we're both excited about, we'll see. But the only reason I see I can maybe produce is because of the maths background, where I can be like, ye kahan gaya, ye kahan se aaya, ye kahan se aaya. Because when I see that happening on set, and now that I'm married to a producer, I'm like, how they put that on the Excel, like in your head you're calculating. But yeah, so maybe because I can't direct, I know I can never direct, so I can maybe be of help in that space, or do something of my own there. But I'm also co-founder with a couple of brands, a couple of businesses that, whether it's wellness, or I've just we I'm going to be launching actually. Last year we launched this brand called New Boo, which is a sustainable reusable diaper, which is
Nice.
yeah, because the biggest landfill on the planet today is diapers, and like it takes 500 years for one diaper to decompose. That means the first one is still lying on the planet somewhere. So from the whole like sustainability angle, because I'm not a mother, I don't know, but like sustainably as a citizen of the world, I feel like if we are talking about future generation, why should we have one if we can't leave a planet for them? So that's something we're working on, and we're going to be launching a new product next month, which is reusable diaper panty. I mean, reusable period panties for women, which are really catching up. But these are like sustainable and reusable and more affordable and planet savvy. So I've been working on that. Yeah. So a lot of things like that. And then of course, investor in a lot of things. So
Oh.
yeah.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Another topic which always interests me and concerns me is mental health. And did you at any point go through any sort of, I remember a lot of my actor friends during COVID, and even a lot of my actor friends when they were auditioning, this I'm talking about 10, 12 years ago, so always tell me the therapists help them
Absolutely.
so did you ever have to go to therapy, or how did you go through all your anxious phases, and how did you?
Like I said, that phase of 24, 25, I became my own therapist by reading those books. Like Louis Hay, You Can Heal Yourself is one of those books which
Heal
I
Your
just
Life.
heal your life. Yeah. So I'd become my own therapist. But having said that, I feel it's great to go to therapy, and let's understand, right? Why do we need that external support? Because even from families, now certain families or certain parents will choose the right words during communication, and some people, because they don't know any better, can be harsh to their kids who are trying to maybe do something. They're anyways feeling dejected in their career, and then parents say tum to kisi layak nahi ho. A lot of harsh words can be used, and we don't understand how it can impact a person's psyche. And I feel it's great to be able to speak to a therapist if someone needs to, because they will you need to be heard. And a lot of people don't actually hear you. Everyone out there in the world is trying to give you gyan, but nobody's listening. And if anybody finds themselves in, I know of people who done therapy. I've done a session once myself, because I just wanted to speak. Sometimes you just don't want to be judged and speak. And not that there was, once though I did a session because I was like, I want to see if there's something wrong. I want to figure out. And that was a therapy. That wasn't therapy. That was like a breathwork therapy. So they say that there are layers inside you that sort of peel through breath that you may not be aware of. So I was like, मुझे भी जानना है. Like I really want to know if I have any layer like that, because I don't know. Like I think I'm very happy. So I'd gone there and done that breath work, and suddenly like something happened and I started crying. And so there are these interesting tools to sort of, the thing is we've made it such a taboo that speaking to a therapist is not cool. But I think it's great that people are talking more about it, and you
You have
must.
to
I mean,
normalize
if you
it.
you have to normalize it. If you can, your well-being begins here. There's no point of keeping your houses clean if you can't keep your mind and your body clean. As simple as that. So I think a healthy mind and a healthy body, and then you can do whatever you want.
So now we have an audience here which is very keen to ask you a few questions.
Yes.
So go ahead.
My name is Vedanshi. My first question to you is that you're a fitness enthusiast. So, can you tell me 5 things that you do in your daily life that help you remain fit?
So I think first and foremost is that make it your lifestyle, right? It's not about forcing yourself to go to the gym or doing any sort of physical activity. The moment you'll put a habit, it'll become your lifestyle, and then you like it's like normal for me. Like how you watch TV 1 hour every day, to dekhna hi hai. You know, it's like that. So for me, any form of physical activity is very important, whether it's workout or yoga or walk, whatever that I'm doing. Second, balance eating. I don't believe in fat diets. I eat everything that our grandmother used to eat. You know, your millets, uh, I started a millet brand because I love millets. So, dal, sabzi, roti, millets, like stay away from packaged junk food as much as you can. And happy thoughts. I think wellness also comes from self love and a lot of happy thoughts and knowing that you can achieve. Like it's really sad that everybody says नहीं यार weight loss तो नहीं होता है or oh I have this problem so I cannot. You can. So if your mind decides you can, you can. Great sleep and enough water.
Okay, my second question to you is that you're newly married. So, is there a thing about yeah? So, is there a thing about Jackie that you figured out like post getting married? Probably a thing that y'all didn't argue about before marriage, but now y'all do.
You know, I'm not just saying this. Touch wood. I don't think Jackie and I argue much. Touch wood. It's particularly Jackie.
It can be about the remote as well. Anything.
He doesn't care. You can watch whatever you want, and both of us. I mean, it's you know, it's also like a lot of immaturity about oh I want to watch this, I want to make your timing now these days. So anyways it's like mostly you're streaming on OTT, so you're like okay you want to watch today, it's your pick, tomorrow it'll be my pick. So it's like that. But fortunately there's been no like sudden surprise post wedding. He's been the same person I was dating, and I would hope to believe me too. So yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So, question is, back when you were in Delhi, every parent has a dream for their child, what they want them to be in their careers. So, what was that dream for your parents, for you, and how did they reconcile with the fact that you've decided to become an actor?
Actually, like I was speaking to Jitesh, it was my mom who sort of made me see that I am this drama queen who would love to, who should explore the showbiz. And which is why she was the first one who made me recognize that I should give Miss India an attempt and I should start modeling. And my dad was always very supportive. The only thing my parents said is that just keep your head on your shoulders, because there is like if we feel that you're losing that we're going to say pack your bags and come back. Like even now, even though I'm married, I feel like if I do something wrong, they'll say pack your bags and come back. I'm like, now you can't say, but you know what I mean. So I think that respect that I have, and I know that they've allowed me to live my dream, and I need to make them proud, has stayed, and they've been very supportive. I think my dad went with me to shop for bikinis for Miss India, and he's telling me, should I come get bright colors? So I was like, okay, I know you love me, but it's okay, I'll take mom with me. You know what I mean? So I've been very lucky to have supportive parents. Yeah.
That's nice, superb.
Hi Rakul. So, as you're an army kid, did you ever have a special affinity for army movies as such when you were a child?
I'm a true blue army kid. Like, you know, when you have these, see these Instagram posts that say that you're an army kid if you believe that outsiders are civilians, and if you have, you have those quotes. I can resonate with everything because I'm like that army ingrained in me. And yes, a lot of love, which is why I loved Uri. Borders, my all-time favorite, because you've seen that life. Like I have lived in Rajasthan in the bunkers. I've seen that life, and we'd gone to visit dad for a few days, and we stayed in the bunker, and we saw the post across. Okay, that side is the other country, and this side is us, and you've seen that so closely. Yeah, it's always it has a special place in my heart.
Punch or dunk. Okay.
Okay.
Either by so.
So you punch means you're answering.
You're answering.
Dunk means okay.
Okay. So which one's better, working out with Jackie or your dad?
Both are good. All three can train together.
A habit of Jackie's that you tolerate and a habit that you don't tolerate.
The habit that I tolerate would be that his sense of time, okay, like 5 minutes can be 20. It's gotten really better. So that is okay because I estimate it now in my head. What I don't tolerate, no, nothing like that.
Gosh, you're unreal. You're too much in love with him. I can't handle this.
Arey, nothing like that really means then I don't tolerate. I don't have to tolerate. I'll go do my thing.
Okay. The worst scene you have had to do for a paycheck.
No, sometimes you do things that you don't understand. Like sometimes mentally, your character can be a different age. You're like, why is she behaving like a retard? Like, why is she getting overexcited? Then you're like, okay, I am overexcited with small things, so it's fine. You do that.
A co-star or director that you realize was overrated after working with them.
मरवाओगे क्या अभी करियर बाकी है मेरा I'm dunking this I'm hiding under the table.
So on that happy note, here's wishing you all the best for your career as an actor and your
you.
career as an entrepreneur and
Thank
now
you.
of course as a wife.
Thank you.
Lots of love.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.